Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cerritos and a successor agency to the Cerritos Redevelopment Agency. At this time, Pastor Paul Hansen of the First Christian Reformed Church of Artesia will offer the invocation, followed by Boy Scout Troop 394 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and City Council of Cerritos, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here, to be able to be with you this evening hour as a friend and neighbor from Artesia. It's really good to be with you. Let's come before God in prayer. God in heaven, we come before you in the evening hour of this great day and pray that you would give this deliberative council wisdom and guidance as you do the people's business, that you would give them direction, that you would guide them in a path which you have set before them as they serve this community, that you would enable and equip them to serve with humility and with honor, caring for the people, protecting them and their interests, and watching over them and their interests. We pray that you would, in your sovereign grace and power, bless them. And we pray this by the power of the sovereign God. Amen.
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 Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Prepare to post colors. Will everyone please accompany me in the Pledge of Allegiance? All those in Scout uniform, salute the flag. All those in civilian clothing, please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard, post colors. Color guard, retreat. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. I want to thank again Boy Scout Troop 394 for doing the pledge, and also Pastor Paul Hansen from the First Christian Reformed Church of Artesia for offering the invocation. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Council and agency members Barrows.
Present.
Cho.
Present.
Ray.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Chen.
Present.
Mayor and Chair Pulido.
Present. Thank you. At this time, we have no presentations, so we'll proceed to public comments. And if there are any members of the public who would like to address the City Council this time about an issue that isn't currently on the agenda, please come forward and fill out a blue card, and you're entitled to 5 minutes per person. At this time, I only have 2 cards, but they are for agenda item 8A. Are there any other members of the public who'd like to address? Okay, thank you. Feel free to come to the podium and you can fill out the card afterwards. Okay. Seeing no public comments at this time, we'll proceed to the consent calendar. Council, do I have a motion?
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved for approval by Councilmember Ray, seconded by Councilmember Cho. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. And now we'll proceed to action items. Actually, I had a request from a resident if we could kindly move forward agenda item 9D in interest of time for those who have attended tonight. Is that okay with council?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, why don't we go ahead and proceed with that? That's agenda item 9D, review and consideration of requests for community organizations to conduct candidate forums related to the March 3rd, 2015 general municipal election. Mr. Gallucci.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item, that item will be presented by our City Clerk, Ms. Barone.
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. In conjunction with previous municipal elections, the City Council has granted requests from community organizations to conduct live broadcasts of candidate forums from the City Council chamber and has authorized funding of the cablecasts. The La Palma Cerritos branch of the American Association of University Women and the Women's Club of Artesia Cerritos have respectively requested to conduct candidate forums. There is a slight change on the dates. The AAUW has requested Monday, February 9th, 2015 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the Women's Club, there was a typographical error. They are requesting Wednesday, February 25th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And there are no conflicts that we know of at this time in the council chamber. Both organizations are requesting a live cablecast of the events on Cerritos TV3, and they're asking the city to underwrite this expense. In the past, the cost of the cablecast has not exceeded $500. Both organizations have indicated that they are not recipient committees under the Political Reform Act, and a search of the California Secretary of State's website confirms this information. So at this time, it's recommended that the City Council review the request and direct staff accordingly. That's the conclusion of my report, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Barone, for your presentation. Council members, do we have any questions for staff at this time? Okay. Any comments from the public on this item? Agenda item 9D. Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion from council?
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Barros
With the corrected dates.
with the corrected dates.
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Councilmember Ray. Any further comments from council?
If you can you repeat the dates again?
Yes. The AAUW has requested Monday, February 9th, 2015, and the Women's Club has requested Wednesday, February 25th, 2015.
Thank you.
Both from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item 8A, a public hearing to review and consider adoption of a resolution to adjust water and sewer charges. Consideration to waive reading of and adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cerritos determining that there was no majority protest of proposed water and sewer rate increases and adopting updated water and sewer rates which supersede the existing rate schedules. Mr. Gallucci.
Mr. Mayor, members of the councils, as council will recall, council directed staff to prepare this document and present it this evening to the City Council for consideration. The presentation will be given by Ms. Barone, and then she and the city attorney and myself be happy to answer any question. Vita?
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight's public hearing is a result of Council's action on June 12, 2014, where it was determined that there was a need to increase water and sewer rates to meet but not exceed the reasonable cost of providing such service to the residents and businesses within the city. At that time, the Council directed staff to undertake the necessary steps to implement adjustments to the city's water and sewer rates, schedule a majority protest hearing, and provide for the proper notification to all water and sewer customers in compliance with the provisions of Proposition 218. On July 24, 2014, the City Council adopted a resolution which detailed the specific procedures for receiving, reviewing, and tabulating the protests. The notice to utility customers and property owners was mailed commencing the first week of September 2014, which was at least 45 days prior to the date of the November 13th public hearing. The notice was also available on the city's website. The public hearing was properly noticed in legal advertisement and posted in the city's required locations. As of the mailing, the city clerk's office has been receiving written protests, and written protests may be submitted to the city clerk through the close of tonight's public hearing. City Clerk's office staff is present in the chamber to receive these protests. And at this time, I'd like the City Clerk's office staff to identify themselves by raising their hand. And if anybody has a written protest form, I suggest that you send it to the City Clerk's staff that's here in the office prior to the closing of the public hearing. Pursuant to the requirements of Proposition 218, it was determined that there are 15,565 unique parcels identified by Assessor's Parcel Number, or APN, which were eligible to submit a written protest to the city clerk. Proposition 218 states that if less than a majority of the eligible APNs submit a written protest, the city may adjust the rates. As of 5 p.m. today, the City Clerk's office received 1,556 written protest forms. This does not include any forms that have been submitted at tonight's meeting. After the receipt of public testimony and the close of tonight's public hearing, it is recommended that the City Council direct the City Clerk to complete a cursory review of the additional written protests submitted tonight. If the cursory review of the protests received demonstrates that the total number received is manifestly less than one-half of the eligible parcels, then I will advise the City Council of the absence of a majority protest. The City Council at that time may adopt a resolution approving the rate adjustments. The rate adjustments would then be effective on the day following the City Council's adoption of the resolution. At this time, we recommend that the City Council open the public hearing, receive public testimony, direct the City Clerk to receive any remaining written protest, close the public hearing, and then take any further required action. This is the conclusion of the staff report. At this time, the City Attorney, City Manager, staff from the Administrative Services Department, or myself would be happy to answer any additional questions on this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Barone, for your presentation. Council members, do we have any questions or comments at this time for staff? Okay, hearing none, we will go to public comment. And if you are a member of the public who would like to address the City Council at this time for Agenda 8A, please come forward and fill out a blue card. At this time, I have 5 cards. I'll call them in the order that I received them. And please proceed to the podium, and you each have 5 minutes to address the City Council on this item. First is Ms. Gail Grossman, City of Cerritos.
Good evening. As a 44-year resident, my name is Gail Grossman, 44-year resident. Just as you have and had children in our great ABC school district, as I did, several of you found it not important to value education and had many of your supporters encourage people to vote no on A. But you seem to have no problem having Cerritos residents pay more for their water rates. You had the material sent out to residents at a time of elections. Quite a coincidence. Many residents either didn't get the mailing or thought it was political mailing and tossed it aside. I have had several people call me and ask me how to express their voice. If you have the water rates, what is next? I have heard that you want to put the utility tax back on our tax bills. Also, I've heard some comments that some council members want to have our own police force. What happens to the people who live in Emerald Village and Pioneer Villas? Do they have to pay the increase? They're on limited incomes. We are an aging community, of which 4 of you are part of, and don't need this increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jerry Jensen, resident of Cerritos.
Good evening, lady and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Jensen. I came here about a month ago to view a few of my concerns, and were they corrected on the paperwork? I don't believe so. I don't know if the residents have their cards with them. I don't know if you're aware that they used the sewer bill for 72 units instead of 36. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's really part of the issue. I don't know if you're aware, residents, that it's not 10% increase. It's almost 14% per year average. I don't know if we're aware. You can raise our sewer and our water. Can you raise our refuge the same way you just did this? I'm looking at Proposition 218 also. I printed it off the internet, some of this stuff. And it talks about refuge. Now, do you have to do a protest vote on that? I don't want to waste my time. Now, basically, on the front page of the Cerritos News, you talk about raising it for 7 years. Is it cut off at 7 years, or are you going to go past 7 years? Doesn't say. You indicate nothing. I'm not saying you're going to do it, but there's nothing saying you can't. Are you going to go back to our original rate? Doesn't say you can, doesn't say you can't. You leave a lot of open. On the paperwork, the little flyer, you talk about partial payment on the inside, ladies and gentlemen. You can look at it. It says the city funds the maintenance of its 110-mile sewer system partially through the water bill. Is the rest of it funded on our tax bill? If it is it proportional, figured out on what the value of your house is or how much water you use? How do they figure it? I'm just asking. I don't know these answers. It seems like there's a lot of open-ended things that you just don't close up quite right. I don't know who wrote this, but like I say, reclaimed water. They talk about we use potable, I brought it up, not potable water, but reclaimed water. Who takes care of the water line? I believe it's the city because it's ours. But it's not hooked up to anybody. So when is it, who pays for it? Do we pay for it as a maintenance or what? There's 50 years aging. We're talking about, is this dedicated? Do we have a specific project that you're going to be using this money for? Because you're talking about it went up 70%. Can you pass on wholesale costs to the retailer? I'm asking questions. Because I read this 218, I'm not a lawyer, and they kind of indicate that money, that wholesale money, may not be passed on, may be passed on. I don't know. I'm asking the question. But as a homeowner and as a resident, I really think that we should know clearly when you send something like this out that is buttoned up. You tell me, I'll stand here and wait. Tell me where it says that there's not after 7 years. Is there somewhere on here it says it will close up after 7 years? Will it go back to the original rate after 7 years? Do you realize that you're almost doubling what we're paying right now from present for after 7 years? You realize that? Almost 100% increase. You wanted to keep it right under the 100%. I feel it's about 96 or 98%. It's just things like that that just, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that we don't need the increase. I don't like the process, okay? I really don't. I could go on, but I'd really like to know about the refuge. Can somebody answer me? So are you going to come back? Did we raise our rates on our trash without a protest vote? And can you do that? I'm asking. I'm not answering. So there's a lot of questions. I've got more, and I don't have the time. I know there's other people that want to talk. I could probably stand up here for a while. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Gallucci, would you like to address any of those questions?
Thank you, Mayor. I can address the question about the trash rates. Under Proposition 218, prior to local government, the city raising any property-related fees, they go through a majority protest hearing process. And the water and sewer rates that are on tonight's agenda is just that. It's a property-related fee. The city of Cerritos does not provide trash service as a municipal service. City of LA does. So City of LA's trash service would be subject to Prop 218. Our city, like many other cities, contracts that service out, and therefore the trash rates that are established are not subject to Proposition 218.
Thank you. Mr. Gallucci, on the matter of the 7 years or beyond?
I'm going to have our finance people answer that one. Jerry?
Yes, I'll go ahead and provide this answer for you. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, under Proposition 218, the reason the law is in place is for some element of transparency regarding what the plan is for the city to provide the increases. Right now, it provides only for a 7-year schedule, and my understanding is that anything beyond that would require another process similar to what we are incurring right at this point.
Thank you. And then there was also a question regarding dedicated projects that these funds would be used for. I know it's in the staff report, but
we have numerous projects that are in need. As you are aware, our pipes are approaching the 60-year age, and our equipment And this is to keep from occurring what you see on TV with these old pipes that are 100 years old that are continually breaking. Ours are not. We also need to fix a well, finish a well over by Pioneer Villas. That needs to be taken care of. And we're working on our well on Artesia Boulevard and just to repair our lines and our meters. And if I may, I would answer the question on the tertiary water, if you'd like, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Tertiary water is a separate item from our potable water system. The funds are not interchangeable. Tertiary their funds stay separate from the potable water. It's restricted funds. All of our parks, schools, the college, Caltrans is irrigated with with tertiary water. Those funds go into the operation, and tertiary is in. We're not asking for an increase in the tertiary fee at this current time, and we are breaking even as it relates to the use of tertiary water for all of those facilities that I mentioned. And we irrigate about 2,000 acre-feet a year in tertiary water.
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. We'll continue with the public comment. I'd like to call next Ruby Tamashiro, Cerritos resident.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Good evening to the city staff, administrative staff, and to my fellow city residents. I come before you today with the understanding that no matter what the outcome of the protest ballot, which I gather is currently underway and not yet complete, but may be by the time we finish, even if it is positive, meaning it upholds the proposal, that by virtue of the fact that we have this public hearing, that there is still an opportunity that we can voice our thoughts and that there's an opportunity to modify the proposed rate increases before they're put into effect. I want to start by making it clear that I'm not opposed to a rate increase, but I do have concerns about the proposed amount of the increase, like some of the former speakers. And it's over the 7-year period. And as the speaker before me indicated, it'll almost double the amount that we will be paying 7 years hence and then the years out. I have basically 3 issues that I would like to address, all of which is intended to reduce the proposed rate increases. First, perhaps one of the most significant reasons for the proposed rate increases relates to the anticipated $17.2 million water system capital improvements over the next 7 years. The list is shown on Attachment E of the staff report that relates to this meeting. One of the expenditures listed on the Attachment E is the Valley View utility relocation in the amount of $702,000. I question why it is included on the list of expenditures when the city's proposed 2014-15 budget states, and I quote, "It is anticipated that the relocation will occur during fiscal year 2014 and 15, and the estimated cost of $702,000 will be reimbursed fully by Caltrans." So it seems that it shouldn't be a burden on the users to have to also absorb this in a rate increase. The next issue relates to allocating some of the city's general fund reserves to the water system capital improvements. And I know our city manager doesn't like to hear that. As stated in the staff report, the water system is viewed by many as the ultimate essential service system, that it is ultimate essential service, and improvements to the water system cannot be deferred indefinitely. And that is why, in part, that I'm not opposed to rate increase, because I believe that we need to keep the infrastructure strong, or we will have one of these blow-ups like they did at UCLA in Westwood and the countless others that have occurred since. It seems like on a weekly basis we hear about water mains breaking and flooding the neighborhood and disrupting service. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's on this premise that it is an essential service that I believe the use of a small percentage of the General Reserve Fund can be justified. According to the city manager's budget message, and I'm quoting it, he says, "It is estimated that the city's general fund reserve will be approximately $54.2 million. as this amount is unrestricted and it is available for use for any purpose deemed necessary by the City Council. For the coming year, our current ratio, this is again relating back to the statement by the city manager. He states that for the coming year, our current ratio of general fund cash reserves to the city's operating expenditures is anticipated to be approximately 65%. The report further states that in current government practice, it is believed that the reserve levels of approximately 5 to 10% are typical. 5 to 10% are typical versus our 65% of most agencies. So we're kind of lush. We're doing very well in that category. I do want to make it clear that it is commendable that our city administrators have been fiscally responsible to have amassed such a reserve. However, I believe that we should consider allocating, say, $2.5 million of the $54 million for the water system capital improvements, specifically for those in the out years 2018 to 2019. That would still leave a balance in the reserve of over $51 million, still a very enviable level when compared to most agencies. If it is determined that the $702,000 Valley View utility relocation expense should be removed from the capital improvement list, which I raised earlier.
Ms. Tomashiro, your 5 minutes have expired. If you could wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, we could take those two amounts, reduce the rates by $3.2 million, or approximately 18.5%. The last issue I want to raise, and I'm just going to not even really relate to my state, has to do with the status of the Water Replenishment District litigation, which the city has already paid over $7 million, and we've already expensed that. It's in litigation, and it's my understanding that the outcome is viewed favorably, to be favorable by our own staff, city staff. I wanted to understand how that money will be used if it is refunded. If in fact it's in our favor and we get it back, that would be revenues in our pocket in the year that we receive the funds. Therefore, I think that my proposal is that at some future time, and maybe it's in the next year, but sometime in the 7 year, if we receive these funds back, that the City Council be given the authority to go back and review the rates and even maybe lower the rate at that future date or shorten the number of years over which this rate will apply.
Thank you.
And that would be it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Alex Estella, City of Cerritos resident.
Good evening. My name is Alejandro Estela. I'm a resident and a concerned citizen of Cerritos. Needless to say, we know that water is a very important in our daily lives. Today we are here for the purpose of conducting a public hearing. A protest written form was mailed to each residence and commercial addresses to complete and return to the city clerk office. Therefore, this will be tabulated as to who agree or against the proposed increase to mitigate the shortfall of water and sewage funds. The flyer indicates that a proposed 10% increase for the next 7 years by fiscal year, and an estimate of $17.2 million to ensure the viability of the water system for the safety and welfare of our community, plus $11.1 million will be required to conduct proper maintenance and construction of the sewer system. Therefore, the total amount equals to $28.3 million. Sometime last year, our co-resident, Mr. Ralph Westphal, he's sitting on my left side this time, did a study and found that Cerritos Center of Performing Arts loses money. And I'm not going to expand on this more, but I'll just make a brief of what the amount of loss of the Cerritos Center of Performing Arts. Basically, from 2004 to 2011, each year, performing arts lose $7 million. Therefore, the total amount for this 8-year period equals to $56 million. I don't know if the Cerritos Center of Performing Arts loses money or become positive for the year 2012, 2013, and this year. So in conclusion, if the appropriate department, city officials, and the council members did something to solve these losses at Cerritos Center of Performing Arts, equaling to a total loss of $56 million, the amount of $28.3 million shortfall should not have fallen into the residents' responsibility, but instead the city could have absorbed the amount for the water and sewer shortfall. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Mr. Ralph Westfall, Cerritos resident.
Thank you for the opportunity to come here and express my concerns. And I'd like to thank Alejandro Estela also for bringing up some of the same issues. And also point out that, like our first speaker tonight, the first public speaker, I'm also a 44-year resident of the city. So I am familiar with the city, concerned about it. And what I want to say to the council and to all the residents of the city is that there's absolutely no need to go out and take this money right now from the taxpaying citizens of this city. The city is wasting a tremendous amount of money at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts. All we have to do is just cut the losses there, then there's no need. I have a Facebook page here. It's you can find it by looking at it. It says Cerritos loses money, and show it to all the audience. You want to see this Facebook page? Just type in Cerritos loses.
Mr. Westfall, if you could address the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am addressing the council, and I'm also addressing the citizens of this city. And that's the reason for public hearings, is so we can address not just the council, but the residents. Do you understand that? Okay. As Mr. Alejandro said, Estela, $60.6 million, and it was 2003 to 2011. This information came from Public Record Act requests to the city. So this is city data, and I'm sure that the people that are making these budget estimates know what they're doing. You look at it again, that's $7.6 million a year. Okay, $7.6 million a year. Now, the sewer proposal is $28.3 million total over 7 years. Okay, everybody get that? $28.3 million. So you run the numbers on this. The annual cost and the recent losses at the Cerritos Center for Performing Arts have been $7.6 million a year. On the other hand, the sewer rate proposal increase is $4 million. Now, I think most people know that $4 million is a lot less than $7.6 million. So all we need to do is cut the losses at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts a little over half, and then we won't have to have any rate increase at all. Okay, this here, reduced CCPA losses equals no sewer boost. Okay, everybody get that? Now, finally, again, show everybody your website, Facebook, Cerritos loses money. Cerritos loses money. We don't need the sewer tax increase. All we need to do is, like anybody else does, when they're running short on finances in their home, is cut unnecessary expenses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to address the City Council on this item, please come forward and fill out a card. I've called all the 5 cards that I have right now. And also, prior to the close of the public hearing, if you could please come forward if you still would like to submit your written protests. Please hand them to the staff of the City Clerk's office. Thank you. Okay. If there are no further members of the public who'd like to address, there was a resident who submitted something electronically, and I'd like to give the mic to Mayor Pro Tem Chen who would like to read it into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm asked by a resident, Mr. Jin Mee, to read his statement into the records, and also I will forward his email with the attached reports to the City Clerk's office for the file, and also available for the public to review. And here's his comments. Mayor Pulido, members of the City Council, City staff, and citizens of Cerritos, my name is Jim E., and I'm a Cerritos resident since 1977. My comments are about the proposed resolution to increase water sewer rates over the next 7 years. I've read the report titled Failure to Act, the Economic Impact of Current Investment Trends in Water and Wastewater Treatment Infrastructure, which was published by the American Society of Civil Engineers in 2011. In that report, the ASCE graded the current state of the nation's wastewater and drinking water infrastructure and gave it a D-. I don't know how our city's infrastructure would rate, but I agreed with city staff that it would be prudent to make some capital improvements in the city's water and waste treatment infrastructure. We don't want to experience what happened in July at UCLA when a 100-year-old water main broke. I would hope that the city would chase after some of the funding that may be available from the passage of Proposition 1, the water bond championed by Governor Brown. In the Failure to Act report, the useful life of various components of the drinking water system were estimated. Electrical and mechanical components have a useful life of 15 to 25 years, and pumps are rated at 25 years. The city staff has pointed out that much of the infrastructure in Cerritos was put in place in the early 1970s, which was before my family moved here. So the infrastructure is approaching 50 years. I didn't write this to justify the capital improvements that are to be funded by the proposed water sewer rate increases. I write to ask the City Council to consider an alternative plan for the increases. The way I see it, the plan is to pay off about $3.7 million owed by the water and sewer funds to the general fund, and raised about $28.4 million for capital improvements in the water and sewer system. If you analyze the proposed increases in water sewer rates, you can achieve the same results by increasing both rates by 10% per year for 4 years, and then maintain the fourth year rate, about 146% of the 214 rates, through the end of 2023. This would be a more palatable plan for the Cerritos residents and the businesses. At the end of 2023, not as much funding would be needed for capital improvements. I suggest that the resolution would also include a requirement that in July 2023, the City Council review the water and sewer rates to determine if they can be reduced. And in the email I received also has a chart identifying the each year in terms of the rate increases. And so that is the end of the statement, but I will forward the email and the attachment of the report that was cited by Mr. Eade in its entirety to the City Clerk's office, and you're welcome to have a copy of that once this is provided to our city staff. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Chen. I have one extra card that was submitted. Would like to call to the podium Mr. Sal Martinez, a City of Cerritos resident.
Whatever. I just come for you guys because when you guys send this paper here, I gotta complain because you put, I don't know, 5 different languages, but you forgot the Spanish people. and then it looked like you guys want to do like the people who need to did in Artesia. They kick him out, and I guess you don't need the vote of the Spanish people for this bill. Why? I don't know, but you should either take all this here and just make it in English. That way, you don't discriminate, I guess, anybody. Because right now it's me, and you see, I don't know if it's people speaking Spanish here, I don't know. But they may say they did it because of the percentage. But if you look back, yes, in my neighborhood, we live in about 12 Spanish speaking people, but you forget about the Spanish people because I guess they're because of becoming wet. I mean, we're wet back or something like that. I don't know. You can ask me because when Mr. Pulido ran for the first terms, he was walking through the city streets, asking for his vote, and it was surprised me. I don't know if he's Latin, but his last name is Spanish, and I don't know if he must look this, and he didn't say nothing about it. That's what I had to say. And also about the water bill, if you look at the people in Cerritos, they're all about 70 years old or plus. A lot of like me, we live in Social Security, and you want to put 10%, which is some of the money that you're going to put. That is some money sometimes we spend to go out for a dinner and $40 raise because we cannot go higher. Younger people, they can afford the tax increase, but not the old people that already retired. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam City Clerk, would you like to address the issue about the languages in which the materials were translated into?
At the time that, thank you, Mayor Pulido, at the time that the notice of public hearing was presented in concept to the City Council, there was a request, and I believe that request came from Councilmember Cho, to translate the notice of public hearing to the kind of the top languages that were requested during the election for the City of Cerritos. I do want to reiterate this is not an election, and there is no obligation to translate these materials as we are obligated to translate the materials for an election. It was strictly as a courtesy, and at that time, and I don't recall the percentage, we were asked to translate the notice into the top percentage of languages that were requested, and that time we did do that.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any further members of the public who would like to address the City Council on this agenda item? Okay. Before I close the public hearing, I want to give the members of the public one last opportunity to turn in your protest forms to the office of the City Clerk staff. Okay. Last chance. Okay. I'd like to close the public hearing, and I'd like to bring it back to council for discussion.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, there are a few questions that went unanswered that I think are really important. I would request that we ask staff to address the $702,000 on the Valley View project and how that's going to work, and where the money's going to come from to pay the upfront costs, and then when we get the money back, where does that money go? And also the WRD expenses that we've had, and also the theater losses. I think those are three items that were brought up by the public that I think deserve a response.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Gallucci.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'll go ahead and answer those questions. The first part I'm going to have Hal answer, then the second part I'm going to have Mr. DeMasi answer, relates where the money goes when it comes back in. So Hal will take the lead in what is occurring with it on Valley View. Hal?
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Good evening, Mayor Pulido and members of the City Council. In regards to the water line relocation work being done in conjunction with the I-5 widening on Valley View. That money, the city is currently fronting that money for the design of those improvements, and the actual construction and design money will be reimbursed by Caltrans as it is reported in the annual budget.
Is that money coming out of our reserves and then goes back into the reserves, or out of the water fund and back into the water fund? I think that was the question.
Denise is going to answer that part.
Out of the water fund and then back into the water fund.
So at the end of the day, we'll be even.
That's
the
correct.
fund will be even.
Yes.
Okay, the next issue, WRD.
WRD, city attorney, will answer this part.
Well, I can provide you with an update on the status of the WRD matter. It is a litigation matter where we are disputing assessments that have been charged against the city of Cerritos, along with other operators in the region that use the WRD's services. And there is a dispute regarding that assessment. We were holding back paying the assessment, and then this last year we did have to pay it up front while we're still challenging the dollar amount. The trial actually for that matter is set for December 8th of this year, and so until we have a trial and a judge reviewing the evidence, we don't know the outcome at this time. But the funds that we are talking about that were paid did come out of the water fund. And if there's any refund that's achieved through this trial, would go back to the water fund. I will also say that this is the trial court decision on December 8th of this year, and even if it is favorable to the city of Cerritos, we do not know whether or not there would be an appeal. And if the appeal is filed, that would further delay any type of refund that we would see for quite some time. Most appeals take about 1.5 years to 2 years. That doesn't say that there could be a settlement also during that time regarding this matter. So it's really unknown at this time. We are feeling positive about potential results in that trial, but again, with any litigation in front of a judge, it is ultimately the judge's decision after he hears all the evidence.
Thank you. On the third question that Councilmember Ray had, the Performing Arts Center.
Going to, if I have Diane answer that question.
Thank you. In regards to the Performing Arts Center, we have continued to try and reduce the deficit over the past few years. That has included reducing programming at the Performing Arts Center and making a valiant effort to bring in programming that we feel would cover those costs. It is difficult to account for revenue outside of what we bring in ticket sales and rentals for the Performing Arts Center, but we do know that we do draw businesses into the town center because of having the Arts Center there, and that was part of the master plan for the town center. In addition to that, we draw a number of people into the community who are spending money in our stores and our restaurants prior to and after going to our performances, as well as staying at the hotels. We have cut over $200,000 out of our marketing budget within the past 3 years to account for budget cuts within the city as part of our looking to cut the budget over at the theater and trying to find as many ways as we can to get the word out about our performances through PR instead of having to pay for additional advertising. I know that I don't have my current budget figures in front of us now, but I know that for at least the past 3 years that I have submitted the budget and that we've made a concerted effort to reduce the programming, that there is not a difference between expenditures and revenues that is at that $7 million range. So without having the budget book in front of me, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I know that it is significantly less than $7 million. And I'd be happy to answer any additional questions. Oh, and in addition, I do want to point out that as At the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts, we also do subsidize the Friends of Arts Education, which brings in educational programming for the community and the schools around in the surrounding areas to keep the arts alive within our school system. And also we provide subsidy to a large number of community groups who choose to use the Performing Arts Center to do their special events. Thank you.
In addition, we've eliminated over 50 staff members during this past couple of years, and a large majority of them have been at the Performing Arts Center.
Thank you. Back to Councilmember Ray for further questions.
Yes, I'll go ahead and continue.
Sure.
People may wonder why I would support putting water increase on the ballot. When we look at our current budget, the potable water system now is costing us almost $11 million a year to operate, and the city has. Prior to the elimination of redevelopment, the city had funds, and we were able to not raise any increases. We haven't raised any increases on water for 6 to 8 years. At the same time, Metropolitan Water has been increasing our rates, which I think they were mentioned earlier. So we're right now, and for the past few years, we're losing a couple $1 million a year. I think it's about $1.9 million on the potable water system. As was mentioned, the reclaimed or tertiary water system is breaking even. It's okay. But because we had large reserves, and I think at one time we had reserves that were up over a couple $100 million when redevelopment was here. It was mentioned about the amount of reserves we have, which is larger than normal operating cities, but we're still in the process of the dissolution of redevelopment. And those funds, need to be there to protect the city for financial disaster if the state of California decides that they want to charge the city more. And that's what some of these disputes and lawsuits are between the city and the state of California. So the reserves really need to be there. Years ago, the water system didn't lose money. It's only been the last 6 to 8 years probably that we've gone into the red. And even with these increases, when they're implemented, we'll still have one of the lowest water rates in the area. The first year increase is estimated to be about $700,000. So that won't even come close to covering the $1.9 million that we're losing every year. It's going to take maybe 3 years. I can't see. Oh, it's going to take maybe 3 years for us to catch up to where we're covering our losses now before any money would be set aside for maintenance and repair and those kinds of things. So, this measure is designed to maybe be run more like a business, where we have a deferred maintenance program set up and we have funds to be able to take care of the maintenance as it happens or do preventative maintenance, and don't wait for us to have a disaster in our water system and then have to go out and take out $20 or $30 million worth of bonds and pay all the interest on that. This is designed to be able to collect that money ahead of time. Could the rates be lowered in the future? That was one of the questions. Certainly all fees and costs are, since I've been on the council, are evaluated pretty clearly each year when we go through the budget. And that's a time when rates can be lowered, rates could be adjusted, costs could be lowered. So, we wouldn't wait as suggested until 2023 to take a look at this. But I could see that as things change, if rates could be lowered, I can imagine city councils in the future would certainly take that into consideration. Like I mentioned before, the reclaimed water is in good shape, and I don't think that's something that we have to address this time. But I do support the increase in the water fees to try to get us even, and I understand the comments about the theater, and I can see where, again, from my end, those are really being addressed, and the theaters cut back tremendously. And one of the things I try to do as a council person is I want to see a balanced budget. I want to see our revenues match our costs. And that hasn't been happening in the last few years. And I think the water system is one of the reasons. So we have to go after each one at a time to try to make sure that we keep the city as healthy financially as possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions or comments from council at this time? Councilmember Cho.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to thank all of you to come and express your concerns. I fully understand your concerns. It's not easy decision for council to raise the water rates. However, since the state of California dissolved the redevelopment agencies in 2011, City of Cerritos have faced very serious financial challenges. Every year, for the past about 4 years, every year we had the big, huge deficits, about $5 million, $7 million every year. The redevelopment agency accounted almost 40% of our combined budget of the City of Cerritos. Can you imagine that we lost about 40% of our budget? We faced very serious challenges. So we have to streamline our expenditures, and also we have to find a new revenue source. So I like to ask all Cerritos residents understand City of Cerritos are facing very serious financial challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cho. Councilmember Barros.
I think, first of all, tonight before us is to ratify the vote. Is that correct? And that's the agenda item.
In regards to the majority protest hearing, I just want to clarify this is not an election, so it's not a vote. So we'll be letting you know if we're directed as to the number of written protests that were received. An option would be if the number is substantially less than the majority required. At that time, the council does have the opportunity or the option to approve the resolution adjusting the rates.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Kind of.
Okay.
I voted against, the increase, and I still think that Dr. Yee's suggestion is probably the one that I would have voted for. But when you look at George's comments about, the balanced budget issue, we have a very real problem, a very real deficit happening year after year with the water bill. And it's not that our expenses have gone up, it's other things affecting us. And I know we have to address that part of it. The other part, when you talk about, maintaining a budget, our city is rated AAA, one of the very few cities, less than 10 in the state of California that has that rating. If that rating drops, our expenses go up, which means we have to find a way to seek that revenue. There's a report out by the California Policy Center just last week that talks about the cities that have the risk of bankruptcy. And they list the top 13 cities. But inside that report, if you go there, you'll find a ranking of all the cities. And way down at the bottom of the ranking, with the lowest risk, is Cerritos. We're in the bottom, I think it's 8. So, our city, when you talk about the reserves, and we had the reserves that were up over 200 when I was on council, when I left in 2003, we took part of the money, and which is part of where the money went that George is referring to, is we put that into the post-retirement pension benefits and things that we have to have. And you look at the cities that are at risk because of their pension issues, we really don't have that risk. And one of the things that I sought was to have a trust account set up at the state level where no council could take and pull that money back out. Because if we left it in the budget, it can be spent any way we wish. they heard from enough cities working through the League of Cities that we did set that up. Our city manager and I sat and reported at one of the annual meetings up in Northern California where this was talked about, and it came to pass a few months later. So we've done a lot of little things to reduce the risk to the city. This, to me, is the exact same thing. We're reducing a risk to us because the one thing I do know, we have had pipes break, and maybe staff could articulate a little bit on how many, just rough numbers for the last couple of years.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, in terms of pipe breaks, we are relatively few. When we're dealing with water infrastructure, it's in the emergencies that rise in the course of operating it. It can be rather unpredictable. It depends on the size of the pipe. It depends on the material of the pipe. It depends on the age of the pipe. It depends on the quality controls and everything that went into when the pipe was installed. And sometimes, in spite of all of those things being done as well they could be, since the pipes are underground, with earthquakes, with settlement, with other impacts, things shift. And usually what we have encountered, at least in this city, is that the kind of emergencies that have risen for us are of relatively minor in nature. Our total repair budget for typically in a year is about $150,000 maybe on line repairs. But as was mentioned earlier, we also have some of the old what we call AC pipe, which was used by pretty much every water utilities and installed in the earlier years. Those tend to experience more breaks. Our plans are to, in the future, as the opportunity allows, to try to replace those with new steel pipes and also, to prolong the longevity of the system. But I've been with the city for almost 27 and a half years involved with the water system. And in those times, we have never, ever reached a situation where we had a problem with water quality, a problem with the availability of water, a problem in terms of reliability, and we want to stay there. And when we're talking about it, seems like a lot of money, but a lot of water projects are expensive. One line break can sometimes, depending on the size of it, cost you $250,000, $500,000. And we have not encountered that. I can recall only one. It was off of 166th Street about a dozen years ago. That was a single break that cost us in excess of $100,000. Everything else has been relatively small, minor repairs. They do require digging up and making the repairs and all of that, but they're not catastrophic like what you are hearing in the city of LA and things of that sort.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem Chen.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make it very clear in terms of what we're seeking tonight with regards to the water increase rates and the sewer funds. I would like staff to make it also very clear to our residents that the funds that we're seeking tonight, or once it's approved, that the funds are dedicated in the specific funds and it's used for the water and sewer usage. Is that specifically? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay. So bear in mind that this is what we're trying to achieve tonight is dedicated funds that will not be used for anything else in the areas of the water and sewers. And I think that's what there was some concern about, being money not used in that category, and just wanted to assure everyone. It is at the point that for the last 4 years, the city has been subsidizing water funds at the rate when our pumper, the ones that, because the city owns water rights and leases that we pump our own water. Anything we don't have sufficient, we purchase water. And so from the pumpers who charge us, their rate has increased by 70%. And that's why we're in this position in this litigation, is because we don't agree with that increase. But even by going through lawsuits and litigation, but the judge also still said that until there's a ruling, you still have to pay that higher rate. You have to pay it in order for you to, once you have a ruling, then you can seek the money back. It's like your credit card. If you have a dispute with your credit card company, you still have to pay that bill in order for you to dispute it, or else you're in arrears. That's exactly the position the city's in. So that's why we need to, at this point, until the lawsuit is settled or come to some kind of a conclusion, right now the city's subsidizing the water fund, the rates that we're being charged. And therefore, understanding that this is authorizing the council and the city to have the means to increase the water rate. And I think that once we get a better handle of the funds, once we have the increases and see where we're at, and by third year, I think I agree with Councilman Ray, by the third year, we're probably going to, at that point, see a break-even point. And then from that point on, then we could look to save a little bit towards the reserve so that we have sufficient funding should we need to implement and to utilize the funds for equipment repair, replacement, and future projects. So that's where we're really at. This is not an increase just because we want an increase. There is a specific need to do this, and that's why it's proposed based on the need. And I just wanted to assure our residents that if there's an opportunity to review the rates down the road, I'm certainly this council or the future council, it will be the future council that will be looking at for possible assessment of the rate at that time. So certainly open to that, and as long as I'm on council, I'm open to looking at the reduction of rates when it's appropriate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Chen. I have some questions of staff myself. I'd like to turn to Attachment B, charges for city water purchases from Central Basin Municipal Water District, Metropolitan Water District. Perhaps if we could have that on the screen. Attachment B, page 12 of the staff report.
We don't have that on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and summarize it. It basically says charges for city water purchases from the Central Basin Municipal Water District, Metropolitan Water District. The chart summarizes historical data regarding the charges that the city's water utility has incurred for water purchases from the Central Basin. The City of Cerritos is a member agency of the Central Basin, while Central Basin is a member agency of the MWD. Central Basin purchases water from the Metropolitan Water District, and Cerritos purchases water in turn from the Central Basin. And it reviews over the past 22 years of increases that have been assessed to the city. From 1992 to 2014, $762 per acre feet it's increased. Over the past 8-year period, the last time that the city itself raised rates, Central Basin has raised it $534 per acre feet. Over that same period, which we didn't raise. So when Mayor Pro Tem Chen says that for many years we have been subsidizing water for our residents, this attachment to the report, unfortunately it's not on the screen, but it shows in July 2006 raised $74 more, an increase of $74. July 2007, I did the math, an additional $61. July 2008, an additional $21. July 2009, an additional $121. July 2010, an additional $24. January 2011, an additional $50. July 2011, an additional $4. January 2012, an additional $56. January 2013, an additional $52. July 2013, an additional $20. And in January 2014, an additional $51 for $1,038 per acre feet. That's the reality, folks. Is that over that period, we haven't increased our rates for our residents because we understand what you're saying, that folks are living on a fixed income. We're aging in place. Our community wants to keep the cost of running this public utility low so that we can provide clean, healthy water for all of our residents. This council doesn't take this issue lightly. We took it reluctantly, but the reality, after realizing that the cost of providing water to our community has gone up, and we haven't done the responsible thing to keep this a break-even enterprise fund, that we needed to bring this to you, the residents. And so that's why we value your input, value your opportunity to protest this and to speak about this. But I want to reassure folks that it's not just because of external forces, it's also the reality of, over time, our infrastructure degrades. Folks know what water does. I mean, over time, it degrades pipes, water mains, valves. And that is the reason why I see that we have, on Attachment E, anticipated capital improvements to the City of Cerritos water system. I see valve replacements citywide to the tune of $1.1 million, which is 6.5% of the total $17.2 million. And then at the bottom, water mains to the tune of $10.5 million, which is 61% of the total. That's 67.5% that's going straight to valves and water mains. I mean, this is how we deliver clean water to our residents and to our businesses. We're an aging city. A couple of years, we're going to celebrate our 60th anniversary. One of the things I ran on was to reinvest in our city's infrastructure. These are the basics. So those are my thoughts. I wanted to be open and honest about it. No one likes to raise fees. No one likes extra taxes. But folks, to live, we need water. And we need a clean, safe water system. It's also a public safety issue. So with that, I support this. This is helps explain why I voted for it, so that we could take it to the residents. And I hope that you could support your council in this important decision for our entire community. With that, do we have any other comments from council? Councilmember Cho.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe you have trouble to read the screen. That is on the agenda report, page number 17. You can, based on this page, see the other cities. Parker Water pays $194.51, and Southgate they pay $159.80. Cerritos rate is $55.96, so it's much less than half. And after we increase first year on the still $61 is the lowest one. After we increase, still lowest. And after 7 years later, it's gonna be $109. Still is less than Parker Water, Golden State Water, Southgate, Newark. This year, Newark paid $137.22. Santa Fe Spring, $121.36. Bellflower, this year, they paying $109.19. But 7 years later, after increase 7 years, only the Cerritos still $109.65. We are lost than other cities. So that's the situation we are facing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cho. Any other comments or questions from council this time? If not, do we have any direction?
Well, Mayor?
Yes.
First direction would be to direct the city clerk to perform the review of all the protests received and to report the results to the city council. Once it's determined that there is not a majority protest, then it would be up to the city council to make a motion to adopt the resolution to adopt the rate increases.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor Pulido. At this time, we have received a total of 1,571 written protest forms. This completes our cursory review, and it demonstrates that the number received is manifestly less than one half of the parcels served by the city with respect to the water or sewer service, and there is an absence of a majority protest.
Okay. 1,571, and the total number of 15,565. Is that?
That is correct.
I don't
There's
remember.
15,565 unique parcels. We have received 1,571 forms.
About 10% of the total.
The forms may not correspond to the specific number of APNs because, just to give an example, you could have one parcel, and on that parcel you could have an apartment building, and several people in that apartment building could have submitted rate protest forms, but only one protest counts per parcel. So it could be that that number is significantly less than 1,571. It doesn't correspond one-to-one per se to the number of parcels.
Okay. Okay, so we have conducted a public hearing, we have received public testimony, we have determined that there is a insufficient number of protests. So next we need a motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adopt the resolution.
Okay, it's been moved
I'll
by
second for that.
Councilmember Ray and seconded by Councilmember Cho. There are no further comments. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Okay, next we have Agenda Item 9A, an informational report to the City Council regarding an administrative approval of a minor precise plan proposal by the Cheesecake Factory for a new restaurant previously approved as part of the Los Cerritos Center renovation project under Precise Plan 2014-10. The proposal includes enhanced architectural design, patio seating, and surrounding landscape upgrades. The subject property is located at 201 Los Cerritos Mall, Cerritos, California 90703, and is zoned Regional Commercial. Mr. Gallucci.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff is extremely pleased this evening to present to you the Cheesecake Factory restaurant that will be located at the Cerritos Mall. We'll be presenting to you this evening the design and the materials that you'll be looking at as it relates to this development. This report will be given by Mr. Lopez, and he and I and Tori will be happy to answer any questions. Robert?
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, I'm happy to present an informational report regarding the Cheesecake Factory restaurant that will be opening at Los Cerritos Center. At this time, I'll direct your attention to the screen for the presentation. As you may recall, in July of this year, the City Council approved a major renovation project for Los Cerritos Center that included the construction of a new two-story Dick's Sporting Goods store, a new Harkins Theater building, and a new adjacent inline mall shops. At the time of City Council approval, Macerich was in the process of negotiating a lease with the Cheesecake Factory to locate a new restaurant across the proposed plaza from the new theater building. Due to the stage in negotiations, the final architectural and landscape design was not included in the final proposal. Therefore, a condition of approval was added to the project to require that the architectural and landscape plans be subject to the review and approval of the Department of Community Development, and that the final design be submitted to the Cerritos Planning Commission for review and comment prior to administrative approval. The following slides show the plans that were submitted by the applicant that staff has reviewed and is in the process of approving. This is the overall site plan that shows the proposed Cheesecake Factory restaurant on the west side of Los Cerritos Center between Forever 21 and the new Harkins Theater. This is an enlarged site plan that shows a closer view of the restaurant location. And this is the proposed floor plan. The restaurant will have ample seating inside the restaurant building and in 2 patios. The largest patio is located outdoors on the west side of the restaurant, and a small patio is planned on the east side of the restaurant, facing the interior of the mall concourse. In total, the restaurant will have the capacity for 375 seated guests. The project architect has provided rendered architectural elevations and a material sample board that are on the dais for the City Council's reference. To review the building design, I will start at the front or west-facing elevation of the restaurant as viewed from the parking area.
Heavy.
The proposed Cheesecake Factory restaurant will follow the company's prototype design, which features a combination of stone and mosaic tiles, custom fiberglass, and Italian plaster. Specialty lighting and fixtures will highlight the building's architectural design, which will serve as a focal point at the new courtyard in front of the mall entrance. This is the south elevation of the restaurant, which shows the proposed outdoor patio that will be surrounded by decorative wrought iron railings and gas patio heaters. This is the portion of the south elevation of the restaurant that will be located behind the mall entrance doors and will be visible from inside the mall. This is the east elevation, which will be viewed from the interior of the mall. This elevation features a small indoor patio that will be enclosed with wrought iron railings bordered with landscape planter boxes. And this is the proposed conceptual landscape plan. Staff will continue to work with the landscape architect to refine the plan and with select plant material and on-site furnishings in order to reinforce this area as a primary entry courtyard for the mall. The location of the proposed valet attendant booth, shown on the proposed landscape plan, has been reviewed by staff and found acceptable. The applicant will be submitting a valet parking management plan prior to permit issuance in accordance with the conditions of approval. This is a photo example of the Cheesecake Factory prototype design found at another shopping center, which gives an idea of what the Cerritos restaurant will look like. This is another photo example with a similar design. And before concluding, I'd like to provide a brief update on the ongoing construction activities that are occurring at Los Cerritos Center. This is a photo of Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, which was approved by the City Council back in 2013. The building exterior is almost complete, and which will be followed by the landscaping and interior finishes. The store is expected to open later this month. This new building is located on the eastern side of the mall property, adjacent to Gridley Road. These 2 photos show the extent of construction activities that are occurring on the other side of the mall. Demolition of the former Nordstrom department store and United Artists Theater building began this summer. This is the future location of Harkins Theater and Dick's Sporting Goods. The mall owner hopes to complete the project by fall 2015. This photo shows where the new Cheesecake Factory restaurant will be located just to the south of Forever 21. Staff is continuing to work closely with Macerich and the major tenants in order to maintain their construction schedule. That concludes the PowerPoint portion of the presentation. The Planning Commission reviewed these plans at their November 5th meeting and concurred with staff's findings that the proposal is acceptable for approval. Staff is working with the project architect on the plan check review of the construction drawings, and staff will continue to work with the applicant's landscape architect on the landscape plans for this area of the renovation. This concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for your presentation. Do appreciate it. Council members, do we have any questions for staff or comments? Okay, see none. Any member of the public who'd like to address the City Council on agenda item 9A, please come forward to the podium and be sure to fill out a blue card with your name and contact information. Okay, seeing none, back to council. Do we have any direction?
Move approval.
I'll
Thank
second
you.
the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved by Councilmember Barros and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Chen. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Agenda item 9B, review and consideration of a cooperation agreement related to the construction and maintenance of shared developer-funded off-site and on-site improvements in connection with two previously approved multifamily residential developments located at 12611 Artesia Boulevard and 12651 Artesia Boulevard. Review and consideration of a reciprocal easement agreement providing access through and among two previously approved multifamily residential developments located at 12611 Artesia Boulevard and 12651 Artesia Boulevard, and a city-owned water well property located at 12701 Artesia Boulevard. Mr. Gallucci.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the next item before you is that cooperation agreement. Staff has been working with both developers and has now concluded that negotiations presented to the council. This presentation will be given by Mr. Lopez, and he and I and the city attorney will be happy to answer any questions. Robert?
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci, Honorable Mayor and council members. Before you this evening are agreements related to two previously approved luxury apartment residential developments to be located on the northeast corner of Artesia Boulevard and Bloomfield Avenue. These include the Pacern Group's Aria development, which is currently under construction, and the Richmond Group's recently approved development at the current site of the Sam Ash Music Store. The first agreement for your consideration is a cooperation agreement between the two property owners, the developers, and the city. The cooperation agreement stipulates that the Pacern Group and the Richmond Group will share in the cost of constructing various on-site and off-site improvements that will serve both projects. These improvements include a shared access driveway, drive aisle, underground utilities, and a new traffic signal at the intersection of the shared driveway and Artesia Boulevard, as well as related street and median improvements. The two developers will equally share in the cost of these improvements, and the city will not incur any costs. The city's role, rather, will be to ensure that the shared improvements are designed and constructed in accordance with city standards. The second agreement for your consideration is a reciprocal easement agreement between the two property owners, the developers, and the city. Under the reciprocal easement agreement, the two property owners will grant each other various easements across their respective properties to facilitate access, drainage, and ongoing maintenance. The agreement will also include a provision that specifically addresses ongoing maintenance of the on-site fire hydrants and fire service laterals in order to comply with fire department requirements. Additionally, under the agreement, the city will grant an easement over a portion of the city's C1 water well site for emergency access in connection with the Richmond Group's development. The Richmond Group will be responsible for part of the cost of relocating existing fencing and equipment in order to accommodate the turnaround of fire department vehicles in that part of the site. These agreements are the culmination of several months of negotiation between the two property owners, the developers, and city staff. These agreements will help to ensure the success of both projects by providing for needed amenities and access. At this time, staff recommends that the City Council approve the two agreements and direct the city manager to execute the agreements, subject to minor modifications as may be deemed appropriate. This concludes staff's presentation. At this time, we would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for your presentation. Council members, do we have any questions or comments at this time? No. Okay, seeing none, any member of the public who'd like to address the City Council on agenda item 9B, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, back to council.
Move approval.
It's been moved by Councilmember Barros. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion so that it can
Okay, so seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Chen.
I'd like to ask the staff, how's going the negotiation with the Richmond Group regarding the community benefit annual increase based on the CPI?
It's in the
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, staff has negotiated with the Richmond Group, and Richmond Group has agreed to the CPI, and that will be included in the contract, and they have agreed, and we've accepted, and we think we negotiated a very good agreement for the city. As it relates to Pacern and the CPI, as the council is aware, you approved this project months and months ago. My leverage with them is not as strong as the leverage we had with the Richmond Group, and they are taking it under advisement. I have negotiated with them. They are taking it under advisement, and I am working with them to move them in that direction.
Okay, I believe that the similar projects going on, but one we raised the annual increase based on CPI. But the other one is that the pays at the same amount 50 years is not fair. So I'd like to approve this the agreement subject to staff negotiate with the Pearson Group about the community benefit the annual increase based on the CPI, just like the Richmond Group. That's, yeah.
If I may, Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Galucci, go ahead.
As it relates to that, Councilman, staff has very limited ability to do that as it relates to the fact that the council approved this contract for them months and months ago. They're well under construction. The project is well down the road. And to go back and force them, no matter what we do, we can't really force them. So I'm negotiating with them and trying to explain to them the benefit of participating and doing what you suggested and working with the other developer. The other developer, it was interesting negotiations, but we had the ability to negotiate strongly, given the fact that it was not approved until this evening. So we had that leverage. With the others, I don't, but we're still working on it, Councilman. We have not given up, and my suggestion is to direct us to continue negotiating and see if we can't get it together with them.
Yeah, I understand your situation. That's why I did approve this one subject to. So council give you the more power. Yeah.
This is a different.
I
Mayor Pro Tem
understand.
Chen?
Yes, I certainly understand Councilman Cho's sentiment, but however, I think this particular item is we should not use this as a means to achieve that, which is what we approved some time ago, and that was not brought up at that time, which I certainly understand that this will not, in my opinion, would not be appropriate at this point to use this particular item as a means to achieve that increase. But so it's at this point in time, I think let's just deal with this particular agendized item pertaining to the issue. The other items with the Richmond Group is already in the consent calendar, item 7F, so the attachment in terms of the agreement is already attached with the CPI adjustment, minimum of 2%, maximum of 5%. So thanks, staff, for getting that done. So that's a good addition to the revenue source for the 50-year lease. Oh, excuse me, in perpetuity. Anyways, okay, so that's basically my comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, I would want to keep these two items separate. I think 9B has to do with the reciprocal agreements between the two, and if we hold this hostage to deal with the Pacern Group, we're also hurting the Richmond Group. They can't move forward. So I would think we would want to deal with this and ask staff like we have to go back and see what we can do to
and they are prepared,
negotiate that.
They're prepared to move forward immediate, so you are
Richmond
correct.
is. I don't want to slow them down. That's my point.
Okay, any further comments in this regard? Okay.
Mayor, just procedurally, you have a motion as second to approve 9B as is. I would take Councilmember Cho's suggestion as a suggested amendment to that motion, and it has not been accepted. And therefore, right now, in front of you, you have the motion to approve 9B as recommended by staff.
Okay. Any further comments, questions of staff? Okay. All of those who approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
No.
opposed? Okay. And any abstentions? Okay. Motion carries 4-1. Thank you. Next, agenda item 9C, designation of voting delegate and alternates for the National League of Cities 2014 annual business meeting to be held on November 22nd, 2014. Mr. Gallucci?
Mr. Mayor and Council, the city clerk will be handling this item. Ms. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Gallucci. Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, the National League of Cities annual business meeting will be held in Austin, Texas on November 22nd, 2014. In order for Cerritos to be represented and participate in the annual business meeting, a voting delegate and alternate must be officially designated by the city. Typically, the council selects a voting delegate and alternate from its membership contingent upon whom will be attending the conference. At this time, it is recommended that the City Council discuss their participation in the National League of Cities 2014 annual business meeting and designate a voting delegate and alternate from among the council members who will be in attendance. That is the conclusion of my report, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Barone. Councilmember Barros?
I thought we've already gone over this before. We already have designated the voting delegate, and I'm kind of wondering why we're back here again.
Madam Clerk?
I don't believe that we, as part of the mayor's appointments, appoint somebody to the National League of Cities.
And
Okay.
I know I am that appointee, but I
Right.
fear unless I say I'm not Gorn and the alternate's not Gorn, then it would be, I think, be appropriate to come back here. But, to have these come up every single time, I think it's redundant.
Okay.
I don't have that list in front of me, but I don't believe that we, on the list of mayor's appointments, we have designated a voting delegate or alternate to the National League of Cities.
Councilman, are you expressing interest in going as the...
Well, I am Gorn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we take that as a
But the Mayor
motion?
Pro Tem's Gorn, so if you want to have the Mayor Pro Tem be the voting delegate, that'd be fine with me too.
Since you have the floor, would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
Okay. We got a motion from Councilmember Barros for Mayor Pro Tem Chen to be the voting delegate. And do I have a second?
Before we do, should we have a public hearing on it? Open to the public?
And we do, we're looking for a voting delegate and alternate.
Okay.
And I'll be the alternate.
Okay, and you would like to be the alternate. Okay. So it's been moved by Councilmember Barros for Mayor Pro Tem Chen to be the voting delegate and for Councilmember Barros to be the alternate. Why don't we give the public an opportunity to address the City Council on agenda item 9C? Is there anyone? Okay, let's go back to Council for any further comments or questions. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, since we already handled agenda item 9D earlier, we will proceed to legislative items. Mr. Gallucci?
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We'll move to agenda item 11, City Council Communications Committee reports, report on meetings. We'll start with Councilmember Cho.
Thank you, Mayor. As some of you may know, the November is the Home Care Workers Month. So, City of Los Angeles and many other cities in LA County adopted the resolution for the Home Care Workers Month. So, I would like to put this one on the agenda on the next council meetings. I have the resolutions draft SEIU provided to me. So I want to give to staff if we have a consensus.
Okay, do we have consensus?
What is it? I'm sorry.
It's
To put on the
it's an
agenda.
SEIU. It's a union issue.
Yeah, home care workers month in November. Yeah. So I just want to agendize and discuss that at the next council meeting.
Okay. Council concurrence?
No.
I would agree.
You would agree? I agree. No?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to discuss it.
Okay. We'll place it on the next agenda item.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else, Council?
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Ray.
The only item I have is I would like to thank the staff, and on Monday we did the flag football awards, and they were amazing. There was a couple hundred children there receiving recognition and awards, and along with my council colleagues, we presented them with trophies and medals, and I never saw so many smiling faces. But this also could not be done without the coaches, without the families, and there's the parents' support of these young people. So it was a great event, and the staff, as usual, always does a great job. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilmember Barros.
I'm just surprised we didn't get this one mentioned Veterans Day. I mean, in addition to the flag football, I mean,
Well, I
both
left
were,
that for you.
No, we'll let the mayor get into it more, but both were awesome things. First of all, since I'm going to the National League of Cities meeting, I'm going to miss a COG meeting next Wednesday, and I'm not sure who the alternate is, but if I get one of the three of you to go, there's an important issue that's come up from a number of council members. They want to address the WRD Central Basin and West Basin, the problems that they're having, the litigation that's going on, and the counties, take on part of that. What we're seeking to do, and this is the important vote, is to have this issue of maybe joining all three agencies, which requires legislation from Sacramento, to be joined together into one agency like it was originally, and as a way to reduce costs, reduce litigation, and to possibly look at having the oversight done by a member of every single city council, just as our sanitation district is. And the direction would be to have our city selection, the city manager steering committee, to review it and make recommendations back to the board, for possible action, which would then, I think, require action by every single city council. But I know there's a couple of folks there that are supportive of continuing the agencies the way they are and the problems the way they are. But surprisingly, there's quite a number of cities that are interested in looking at this. So if we can be sure that we have someone there at our meeting next week.
What date?
It's December 3rd.
November.
December? No.
November.
I don't know.
20th.
No, I realize.
20th? Is it 20th?
No, it's not. Maybe I will be there. Anyway, it's coming up. I'm just trying to think. For some reason, I got the two dates confused. Yeah, never
It's okay to be safe.
Anyway, along with that, there is another thing that's going on with there is I lost my notes here. There's a strategic plan oversight committee that's going to require, I know, one person from staff, if not two. They're looking for transportation and planning to attend. And this is the implementation of AB 32 or AB 375 and SB, well, that's pretty much your way you want with them. But anyway, it's going to cause a lot of issues for each city in terms of how we govern our cities. But more importantly is that there's going to be several seats made up of elected officials from the various cities. And since this is going to happen very close to the end of Joseph's and my term, I think it's important for us to have a seat at the table, which means one of the three of you should try and apply for it. And which I think we held the same day that the COG meeting is. So you might want to think in terms of, my replacement to serve on the same thing. The next item is at the Joint Powers Insurance Conference that Mayor Pro Tem and I attended in Santa Barbara. There was a number of things that came out that I thought were very, very good. One of which I've asked our staff, we should look into Indio's in-house created app, where we use our app to identify potholes and things like that. Theirs becomes a marketing tool in addition to, in a way to communicate with residents, versus ours is just receiving information about potholes or broken curbs or whatever it might be. So if council concurs, I'd like to have staff contact Indio and get a look at the app and see if we can take a look at it and review it and see if it's something we'd like to go to. So, Mayor, if I can ask for concurrence.
I concur. Yes. Okay.
Then the other is something that was kind of a surprise to me is attend a session on cyber security. They spent like an hour and a half going over all the problems cities are having, all the risks that cities have. And we've seen the hacking done by groups out of Russia and other countries, but they're going after cities now, and they're showing what the risk is, what the cost is, and it's something that I did talk to our city manager about, that we should look into it. And I know the agency does have staff that can work with us on it. I think that part's at no cost. And they are using ePlace Solutions. That's another group that does this for cities across the nation. But if we have our staff look into it, I don't think we need a report back, but I think it'd be a good direction to have them review it and see if we need to do something. Once again, if council concurs.
Okay, concurrence?
To me, it's a simple call, just to get a hold of the.
I'm
the
sorry,
authority.
I'm not clear on what the consensus is. I just want to make sure I have it accurate for the record. If we could get some clarity for the record on what
I'd like to have them talk with the Joint Powers Insurance Authority about the risk and what was presented, and see if we do have risk and what we have to do to fix it. And I don't think that should be discussed publicly, but it's something I think it's important that we do pursue it.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted, yes, if I may just elaborate a bit. I sit on the executive board of the California JPIA, which is the risk management conference that Councilman Barrow was talking about. The Joint Power Authority does offer cyber attack insurance, and that's provided to all members, and which is a coverage that 3 years ago that we discussed as something that a service, an extra service, is provided to the member cities. And this is the discussion. And once the coverage is provided, and also is to allow the member cities to look at ways to minimize that risk. And so I think it's something that what you're saying is, I think it's a service that's available to the member cities. All we have to do is that the staff needs to be aware that the coverage is there, and then to look at how to strengthen our firewalls and our system. So it is available to, information is available to us. So I don't know if it's just a matter of information for our staff to know that it's available, and direct staff to seek that information, and then also how to best deal with that coverage. So I don't know if it's necessary to.
I think it is, because the insurance is one thing, which will cover the cost, but the damage that it would happen to us, should it happen, is the risk to our residents. And if we can harden what we have based on what they're recommending, it protects our residents, so we don't have to use the insurance after the problem's already caused.
Right.
And that's what they were asking us to do, and that's what I'm asking our staff to do, is to get with the JPI's staff and whoever they use to be sure that, we do protect our residents. I mean, having insurance is a great thing, but it doesn't help, relieve the problems it causes for the residents should we result in a problem with, a foreign entity breaking into
So the
our
service, our staff needs to be looking at our own system in terms of what protections we need to ensure, but understanding what the information is available from the Joint Powers of Authority.
Right.
And I don't think they can take and provide that service for us. I think internally we need to do that on our own, and then seek the expertise to help us strengthen our system. Is that what?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well,
No, I just want to have their staff work with ours, be sure that we are up to date.
Right. But I don't know if it's I think it's more of our internal assessment first and having the right.
No, if that's all it was, we would have done it. There's all kinds of new things happening, and that's what they were pointing out. That's important that they do work with our cities. You see,
Right,
for us,
right.
go ahead and
that
do
is the
internal
service that they
assessments.
provide to all member cities, which is what I wanted to assure that this is not they're not providing a third party contractor to come in and help us evaluate. It is something that the information is available to all member cities. So don't be thinking that it's something that the authority is going to come out and do the assessment for you. I think what they're saying is that what are some of the pitfalls or things that you, as member cities, would need to be aware of. I don't think it's something that they will come in and to assess our system and we can really rely upon. There is some assessment. I think our staff and we need to be proactive in maintaining and protecting whatever records and systems that we have.
Okay.
I just want to make that distinction.
Okay. Councilmember Barros, do you have any other items?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
About a week ago, I was asked to represent the League of Cities to present the Helen Putnam Award to the City of Santa Clarita. And just a little over a week ago. So I drove up there and made the presentation, but while I was there, I was able to, since I got there early, look at some of the forms that they had out, for their residents, and I asked our city clerk to distribute copies of the request to speak form and also the written comment form. And I was just thinking back, Mark, to our last meeting when we had a resident say that she filled out her comments on a card, and it was then presented to you.
Yeah.
And then everybody else spoke, but her comments weren't read. We never really had a distinction as to what we should do with the written comments. Whereas, like tonight, our Mayor Pro Tem did read, the comments from Dr. Yee. I was just saying, looking at the form, and I wanted to ask if our staff, our city clerk, could look at probably using these type of forms, modify ours so we have the same type of freedom for a resident to fill out either to speak or to just make a comment, and then find out whether or not they want us to read it or not. It's just a little minor thing, and then a couple of little things they did, which is the last page or 2 page was, comments about the council, the setup inside, and we do have people that come in that don't really know how the city council operates or what the staff does or how we're set up. So I think that form is probably a very informative form. I'm just curious if that's something we should do, because I don't think we ever addressed that before.
You're asking council concurrence to direct staff to explore
Bring
this?
back an idea for us, to look at a future date.
Okay, I see nodding. Concurrence?
Yeah, I don't have a problem looking at it.
Sure. Council concurrence.
I haven't had a chance to look at it myself. I've seen it, but I didn't really review it. Looks like we'd have to hire an attorney to explain to the
Okay. Is that it, Councilman?
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Chen.
Thank you. I just wanted to highlight the couple events that I've attended since our last council meeting. One on October 25th, I attended the Cerritos Elementary Pancake Breakfast, which is held on an annual basis, and it's parents come out and in support of the schools, and the fundraiser as money that they will use for the schools at the school site. What's interesting this year is that the parents found a way of fundraising mechanism through teaching the students and the children how to operate a business. What they did was they found a online access to a coffee business where they purchase the coffee, grind them, and roast them. Once you place the order, and they actually come in and brought the coffee in, and actually on site brew the coffee, and have each of the pancake breakfast came with a cup of coffee. So it was teaching the children how to operate business from buying wholesale, bringing it into the schools, and then actually making it and also selling it. And so those of us who tasted it and liked it, you certainly can order it online, and which the proceeds of that purchase is actually donated to the school. So the children were excited about it. They really enjoyed making the coffee and having us taste it. And so it's what a wonderful way of these wonderful parents come up with the idea and seek out this unique opportunity for the students and the children to learn about starting a business, bringing products to this site, and then generating the necessary funds to help out the cost for the school sites. And what they're going to use for that money is to buy computer equipment at Cerritos Elementary. So I was very, very glad to be there this year to see the new addition to the just your average, pancake with eggs and pancake. That's very, very tasty. But nevertheless, this is a very good addition to the I wanted just to appreciate the parents who were coming up with this wonderful idea. So that was a highlight of the breakfast. And then, of course, on October 26th, I attended the Sukasa 30-year anniversary and Sukasa organization. It was a dinner recognizing some of the individuals that have gone through the programs and they're being received the support and the help from the organizations, and it was a well-attended event. As was mentioned earlier, I attended the California JPIA Risk Management Conference. It's on Education Forum. Again, many topics related to risk management. I certainly hope that our staff make good use of the information available. All of the courses and all the discussion are available online, and it's on the California JPIA website. Then also, of course, on November 1st, I attended the Blind Start of America annual get-together to thank for their whole year involvement with the dragon boat racing and also the mud run. So this is their fourth or the fifth year. They had been, because we were supportive of the Blind Star of America in their dragon boat races. And so this year, again, it's recognizing those who participated. And next year, we're going to be on the podium. So to support Blind Star of America. And that will be the goal. So council members and staff, I hope, for award, of course, that we're going to hope that all of you will be able to participate and support the event next year. And of course, we had a wonderful Veterans Day ceremony, thanks to staff. And this year, I think, really tops it. It just really warming to see that all of the people that came out Tuesday, and this year's program is just. I think of all the years we've done it, this year is really the best. So thanks for having this wonderful event, and thanks to staff for taking the time and arranging the wonderful performances, and really is a community affair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Chen. On Sunday, October 26th, I, along with Mayor Pro Tem Chen, attended the Sukasa Ending Domestic Violence 35th Anniversary Dinner Gala at the Portuguese DES Hall in Artesia. And I wanted to commend all the staff and all the volunteers over the past 35 years of Sukasa for all of their dedicated efforts to help those victims of domestic violence. They've done such a phenomenal job over the years, and they're unsung heroes. On Monday, November 10th, it was mentioned earlier by Councilmember Ray that we attended the Cerritos Youth Flag Football Awards Ceremony at the Cerritos High School Community Gym across the street. I wanted to take the opportunity publicly to commend the over 200 players who participated in this year's league, the 30 volunteer coaches of the 18 teams, and particularly I wanted to say thank you to the parents for supporting their youth, their children, to participate in these activities. The recreation staff did a fantastic job on a great ceremony, and I know that my council colleagues and I always look forward to participating in that. It was already mentioned by several of the council members that on Tuesday, November 11th, the Cerritos Veterans Day ceremony took place out front by our Cerritos Veterans Memorial, and it truly was a moving, inspiring ceremony. I want to publicly thank the participation of Lieutenant Colonel Nathan Range, the deputy commander over at the Los Alamitos Joint Forces Training Base, who really gave a wonderful, thoughtful, reflective speech about our veterans, especially those who've been returning home from conflicts overseas, and the struggles that they and their families go through. And I think it was very instructive to civilians like myself, those in the community, to have a deeper understanding of what our veterans are going through. So I really appreciate the participation of the Lieutenant Colonel. Of course, Supervisor Kanabe for joining us during his busy day of events. Pastor Hundley for providing invocation and benediction. It was nice, I think, in particular, because there were some moving performances that I wanted to say thanks. UCLA Signature A Cappella Girls Choir did a beautiful national anthem and the Armed Forces medley. Usually it's done by the band, and so it's an instrumental, but this one, it was with the lyrics, and I saw the veterans from each of the branches stand up and just really feel proud of their branch of service, and it was a nice touch. And of course, our very own Kapuna Wahine o Cerritos hula performance led by Hetty Harrison and Duha to God Bless America. It was really, if you were there, I truly believe it was one of the most beautiful performances right out front of our city hall. So, and most importantly, wanted to thank all the veterans. There were several hundred who came out this year, their spouses and their families, for all that they have done to defend our freedoms and our nation. So it was a beautiful day. Last night, Wednesday, November 12th, I attended the Neighborhood Watch Town Hall. I wanted to thank Dr. Greg Berg for a great job with that, and also Captain Bill Chiccolo for providing us with the great updates on how crime is down in the city, and reporting back all the dedicated efforts of our burglary suppression team. Residential burglaries, as we know, have been our staff and the folks over at the sheriff's stations have put a laser-like focus on reducing residential burglaries in our city, and again, it's great to hear that our response times are the lowest in the county, at less than 3 minutes for emergency calls. So it was good to hear that, and also to interact with all the block captains out there who are keeping a watchful eye over our community. Wanted to make an announcement. Monday, November 24th, we moved our next city council meeting to that night, Monday, November 24th, but right before we have our city council meeting at 5:30 here in the Civic Center, we'll be doing the Cerritos tree lighting ceremony. So I wanted to extend an open invitation to all the members of our community, particularly those with kids and grandkids. Bring them out. Santa's going to be there. We're going to light the tree. There's going to be arts and crafts. So it's a great way to kick off the holiday season. Lastly, I got the sad news, and I wanted to adjourn along with my city council members in memory of Matt Kanabe's father-in-law, Tom Blackman, who was the president of CalMet Services. He had passed away on November 10, 2014. The city has already sent flowers, but I thought it'd be appropriate that we adjourn tonight's meeting in his memory. Though we aren't yet adjourning because we have a number of items on the closed session. At this time, I'd like to give our city attorney the floor so he can address those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On the agenda, there are 4 items. 3 of them are counsel with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. The first litigation matter is City of Cerritos versus Department of Finance. We'll get an update on that case. And then the other 2 are related. They're the litigation matters between the City of Cerritos, City of Downey, and City of Signal Hill versus the Water Replenishment District. Also get an update. And then the last item is public employee performance evaluation. The position is the city attorney. After the closed sessions, we will reconvene here and announce any actions that were taken and then officially adjourn.
Okay. At this time, we will move to closed session, and then after that, we will reconvene and report back out. Thank you, and good evening.